I'm so glad everybody could be here. I'm so glad everybody's following back. Tonight is going to be a really awesome night. We have a special guest in the house tonight, Tiffany Grath with Leb Insurance Group. We'll be talking to here shortly. But the first thing I wanted to do is I would like to thank all of my sponsors. So let's start tonight's show off with our good friends over at PSD, Print Signs and Designs. Their number is 856-453-0336. They do all the t-shirts for the grind, the 2021 National Build Off. They do, as you can see, printing, apparel, signs, promotional items, vehicle graphics. They do it all. Go over, check them out, and tell them Kevin with the Grind sent you. Next up is our good friends over at Squealing Pigs Audio. Squealing Pigs Audio, located right here in Baytown, Texas. Mr. Lonnie Rebels, good friend of mine for a long time. He does anything stereo related to bikes, whether it's just upgrading speakers or his head unit or whatever, all the way up to the full-blown bike builds with the killer stereo systems in them, full competition, does his own powder coating, some of his own paint. I mean, this guy is amazing. Reach out to Lonnie Rebels on Facebook or go to Squealing Pigs Audio on Facebook and tell him Kevin sent you. Next up is our good friends over at Urban Rides Magazine. You all know him, Mr. Daniel Roby. Established the magazine in 2019. You can get to him on urbanridesmagazine.com. You can get to him on Facebook at Urban Rides Magazine on Facebook, or you can go right over to Daniel Roby's page. Get you a subscription, man. A subscription online is awesome, and you won't miss anything. They go all over the country to all the major rallies. They're there to report and see everything you need to see. Anyway, go check them out, get you a subscription, and tell them Kevin with the Grind sent you. Next up is our good friends over at Indiana and Northern Illinois Thunder Roads Magazine, another high-quality magazine. Man, I tell you what, when I get my subscriptions, these are almost collector's items. But again, they go all over the country. They go to all the rallies, got great articles, great pictorials. I mean, it's just a great magazine. Go check them out and tell them that Kevin sent you from the Grind. Next up, our good friends over at J&D Custom Chrome and Polishing. So y'all check this. All right, everybody, there we go. Thank you to all of our sponsors for 2022. Anyway, I want to start the show off tonight with the 2022 National Biker Build-Off. Give all the guys a little bit of what's going on with that. Yes, we're having a build-off. Yes, we've got builders. Everything's moving right along. The cutoff date is going to be May 1st this year, because I want to give everybody an opportunity to get on this one and make it as big as possible and get that cash prize as big as possible. But remember, guys, when you get into the build off this year, as usual, the rules, the judging criteria, everything is going to be online at thegrindbikerbuildoff.com or americandragseats.com, or you can go right to the Facebook page on the Grind Facebook page, and everything's going to be pinned. So you'll get to see the rules, which is just a declaration of the rules. It's not a contract or anything like that, so don't get that twisted. It's just you acknowledging you know what the rules are, so you can't bitch or piss or moan when the judging starts. You know what's expected of you. Another thing, you got to understand that we're trying to do a second documentary. I think once you guys see this first documentary that Earl did, you're going to really want to be in this show, because even if you don't win the $2,500, you're going to get to be part of a documentary about the industry, about your shop, about what you do, and it's just really badass. But I want to hurry up and get to this guest, because I think this is going to be a long show, because there's a lot of information. As you all know from last week, I told you guys that I'm trying to get insurance and benefits for these smaller shops, so that the smaller bike shops, the mom and pop shops, the smaller, even the larger shops can get medical health insurance and get some type of benefits package, 401k, savings, something like that. For a lot of you shops, you'll be able to get better employees, more long-term employees, because let's face it, in today's economy, everybody has to have insurance. You don't know when you're going to get sick. You don't know when your kids are going to get sick. So I'm trying to get something put together for all of you guys that have shops, whether you've got one employee or you've got 50 employees, it doesn't matter. So let me bring on Miss Tiffany Grath with Leb Insurance Group. Good evening, Tiffany. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm so excited to get into this. I have a lot of friends, a lot of builder friends, a lot of people that I know have businesses. And when you're self-employed, one of your biggest struggles is just paying the rent. That's a big struggle. When you try to look forward and think, man, I'm going to need insurance at some point, typically the builder himself, the owner himself, the businessman himself, they either have a secondary job for the benefits, or they have a spouse that has a job where they cover the benefits. And it can get expensive sometimes. And then there's sometimes some of these guys, they just don't have insurance. So that's what I was real happy when I got a hold of you, or you got a hold of me, I should say, because it can happen. So
it should happen.
So why don't you do me a favor just to start the show off? Why don't you tell everybody who you are, who you're with, and how they can get a hold of you?
So again, Tiffany Grath, I'm with the Leb Insurance Group. They can reach me a couple of different ways. Probably the easiest ways, they can reach out on Facebook. They can give me a call directly, 920-744-5765. I can also post a link where they could go to my Facebook page, send me a quick email, a click right from my Facebook page, and we can start working with them immediately.
Cool. So I know that when, as a small business owner, I started my first business in 1997, and I have had a business ever since, and I've still got one right now. I also have a good day job that has good benefits, and I understand the importance of those benefits. What would it take? Just a real quick snippet of information. What would it take for a small business owner that had a bike shop and say 2 employees? What would it actually take to get these guys health insurance?
Give me a call. It's as simple as that. I do all the work. What is required to get insurance is a phone call. When you're talking about group insurance, I think some people are a little bit confused as to what group insurance is. To get a group policy, you need an owner and 1 full-time employee. That's it. If you are a shop owner and you're just by yourself, I can still get you benefits. a variety of different ways. All it takes is one phone call and I do all the work. And the only thing that's required is they got to give me the information, be honest, tell me what you're looking for, tell me what your budget is, and then I can find it, or I can tell you that I can't find it. 99.9% of the time, I'm going to be able to find it. It's just a matter of getting the information from whoever's looking.
So, and I know this is a question you can't answer straight up, but when you say expensive, affordable, I know for me with my day job, we have United Healthcare.
Okay.
And it's typically an 80-20. And a lot of people get confused when you say an 80-20. But basically what an 80-20 is, from my understanding, is that when I get a doctor's bill, let's say it's for $1,000, I'm responsible for $200 of it, which is 20%. And my employer or the insurance company pays 80% of it. Is that a fair assumption?
That's a fair assumption. You probably have a deductible before they start to pay any of that 80%. Most insurance companies have a deductible.
Yes. So
yes.
So like if I just go to the doctor, it's a copay, like say 30 to 50 bucks.
Yep.
If I go to a specialist, it is a direct $50. Now, a specialist is anytime you have to get your blood drawn, go to someone other than your general
primary care.
Yeah. So I know when you go to see the specialist and stuff like that, that's where the deductible jumps in at. So I like with me, I want to say I have like $1,000 deductible. I could be wrong. I'm just throwing a number out there. So I have to meet that deductible. And because of my family, myself, my wife, and my son, it's a collective amount of money. So if I go use 500 of it for mine, my wife goes and use 300, my son ends up needing it. We're only responsible for the 200 at that point. So I get that. But what I'm referring to is what do you think a normal price for, say, a guy like me that's 52 years old, is it really expensive? Are we talking thousands and thousands of dollars a month for a family, or?
So, Kevin, it's all based on what somebody's comfort level is and what kind of coverage that they want, because everybody's different opinion or view of what expensive is. I like to use the word value. So people value different things in their policies. Do you know what I mean? So some people want to have Cadillac coverage and they're willing to pay for Cadillac coverage. Some people just want catastrophic coverage. Those are two very different things. Insurance is also based on age, location, family, company, pre-existing conditions. There's so many things that go into it. That's why working with an agent who gathers all of that information, because you as a healthy, man is going to be very different than a 25-year-old man who has diabetes. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So there is no, I can never say to you, and if any insurance agent ever says to you, oh, I can just give you a roundabout price, they're lying. Because they have to gather so much information, because we work on an individual custom basis, just like you guys build motorcycles on a custom basis for what your client wants. That's what we do at Leb Insurance. We gather all the information from either the shop and or the employees or both to customize what they need, because a shop of 3 guys is going to pay something very different than a shop of 12 guys. Does that make sense?
Yes. So I guess what I'm saying is, and I get that, that's good you said it. I just had to re-sign up for insurance because the company I work for sold to a new company. Well, when I signed up for insurance this time, it's the craziest thing because we do it all online. But when I was signing up, it had a little icon up in the top right corner of the screen, and it says "Get Custom with Alex."
Okay.
And I was like, well, what the hell is Alex? So I push it. Well, Alex is a computer-generated program that literally asks you, and this is the truth, how old are you? I said, I'm 52. How old is your spouse? She's 51. How old is your child? He's 9. All right. How many medications do you take a month that's regular ongoing medications? I tell them How many does my wife take? My little boy take? How
Mhm.
many times a year do we go for, the regular checkups? How many times a year do we go for something like an emergency room? They
Mhm.
ask you all of these questions.
Yep.
Once they got all the questions, there's 4 different packages you can choose from. But Alex tells you, based off of all the information you just gave me, I think package C, which costs $600 a month for your whole family, that's the best package for you based off of all your information. Now, is that something similar to what you do? You're just on a computer screen?
No. So, a computer screen can never duplicate a personal relationship with somebody because you can ask all the questions in the world on a auto generated. That's not going to give me all the information. So, if somebody decides to work with me, they're going to be talking to me directly on the phone. I don't deal with people via email or texting or anything like that. I have to be able to talk to the person, understand what their feelings are, what their emotions are, what's important to them, what their pain is. Some people, they really want amazing coverage for their children, not so much for themselves. I need to know all of the information. A 20-page questionnaire online is not going to give me that. It just won't.
And see, that makes me feel better, because if you're going to talk to somebody one-on-one, you get to explain things that a computer can't ask. They're going to ask generalized questions.
Yeah.
My whole point is that when we signed up this time, I'd never done that before. And it was very refreshing to have somebody, even if it was a computer, walk through everything that we were doing. And it shows you, like you said, the Cadillac or the Hyundai, which, by the way, Hyundais are pimping
Did
now.
anybody follow up with you after that to say, hey, this is the package? Okay, so that's okay then. As long as somebody was actually following up with you and you were talking to a live person, because there are, again, variables in those things that not everybody knows what a deductible is, or a copay, or a family deductible. Those are things that people are not always really familiar with. There's a difference between, a copay and, a family plan. So there are so many different terms that people can misunderstand that we go through those each individually. So not only do we talk to you, but then we send you a quote, if you will, that goes through everything. And then we go through that line by line, so people know what they're purchasing, because it's really important that you know what you're purchasing. I had a lady the other day. She called me. She didn't understand that she had a $5,000 deductible and a $10,000 out of pocket max.
Ooh.
Okay. So it was important to her last year when she was purchasing insurance that she have the lowest price possible with a really high, she has $1 million policy, which is great. However, she had a specific budget. She has a $10,000 out of pocket max, which means she's going to be paying. So her 80/20, her 20% will not ever exceed $10,000, but her 20% could be $10,000 depending on what her bill is. And a lot of people get confused unless we explain it. And you should be getting that explained to you every single time you purchase the policy.
Well, so what my biggest concern is I have a lot of friends that are owners of shops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I get to talk to these guys outside of work, outside of business, just as friends.
Yep.
And you start talking to these people and they start giving you information. Yep. Like, you wouldn't believe how many builders, I thought these builders built these bikes full-time, every day, done. Well, they don't. They actually have day jobs that they've got, and they do this in the evenings and on the weekends for more money. But they only have the day jobs because the day jobs offer the 401ks, offer the medical, health, dental, optical, all those things. And you really need those. So I want to try to bring benefit to working at a bike shop, because there's a lot of bike shops out there that are amazing bike shops, and they're going to be around for a long time. But when someone comes in to get a job and you're like, yeah, well, we're going to 1099 you at the end of the year. Well, okay, well, Well, that's that's not, even though I'm going to get more cash for what I do, there's no longevity there. I can't.
Yeah, you're not going to be bringing in the best mechanics and getting retention and being able to keep those guys in your shop, because if you can't offer them benefits, they're going to go someplace where they can get those benefits.
That's exactly right.
And there's a lot of misconception. You can offer those benefits. And you know what? Again, if you're thinking about hiring somebody, it takes one phone call to me to say, hey, Tiff, I'm thinking about hiring this guy. He is getting an offer from a shop. They're a little bit bigger. They're going to give him benefits. How can I compete with them? I can simply gather the information and say, okay, this is what it's going to cost you. And they can decide, maybe we'll pay 80-20, maybe we'll do 50-50. So they are in a competitive way to know what they got to do to be competitive to get the best talent. Because they want the best talent in their shops, and the way to keep those guys is not always about the money, right? It's about the benefits.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do know is, like I told you, I've owned, I personally have owned 1, 2, 3. This is actually, American Drag Seats is actually my third business that I've owned.
Yep.
And I like everybody else, I had to learn the hard way on everything, but I did. And one thing I learned was, if you have an employee and he works for you, you 1099 that person. There's rules and there's regulations to 1099ing people. Now, here's the tricky part. If the employee agrees, yeah, okay, 1099 me, and you agree, okay, well, cool. That means I don't have to pay taxes on you, no workman's comp, no social security, nothing. I'm just going to cut you a check. Well, the bad thing is if that employee gets pissed off at you, they can go back to the Workforce Commission and the IRS and get your ass in a whole lot of trouble. And it's usually not worth it. But people don't typically think about that. And thank goodness a lot of guys don't realize if that they could do that to somebody.
You got to be on the up and up. You have to run your business like a business. It's a business, not a hobby. And you can't pay your guys like their hobby either, because that could come back and bite you. Like you said, and when you're working with me, those are questions that I ask. Are your employees 1099? Well, if they're 1099, then probably am not going to be able to, do any kind of group. They have to be W-2 employees. You have to have yourself and one other full-time employee to qualify for any kind of group plan. Doesn't mean that I can't get you, if you do have 1099 people in your shop, we can still get them covered. However, the taxes, I don't deal with taxes and sticky part of that. That's all stuff that you have to deal with as a business owner. My job is to get your people qualified for insurance to make sure that them and their families are covered. So, running your business on spotless is so important.
So, hold on. Luke Shields said you get so much more tax benefits if you make them a legitimate employee, not a 1099. Okay, so let me give you guys an example of what I'm referring to for me. So my company, I'm the only employee of the company. Because I can't find people that want to do the work to my level. Doesn't mean I'm the best in the world. It just means they don't want to meet my level. Mm-hmm. So my company got a contract with another company, and we did all of the work, made the product, sold them the product. Well, they 1099 me. Well, that's because I'm working out of my shop with my tools and this, that, and the other. And it was a pretty nice paycheck. So they 1099 me because I was a subcontractor to their company. Now that's legal, but I'm not going to that company asking for benefits.
Correct.
So in essence, what you're telling me is that if me by myself, I can call you and say, hey, look, I don't have insurance. I want to get some insurance. Mm-hmm. And you can cover me, my wife, and my little one. But because I don't work for somebody and it's not going through them, would it be more expensive individually?
Not necessarily. Again, it's all based on individual policies. So if you decide you wanted to leave your day job and you were just going to completely just do the grind, you were going to build bikes, you were going to run your business, you would call me and say, hey, tell me what it's going to cost to cover me and my wife and my kids. You would then be able to decide for yourself, hey, is it going to be feasible for me to leave my day job? Can I afford the insurance to leave? I'm going to give you a number, a very honest number, so you know whether or not you can leave your day job. Because there are a lot of people who don't call me and they think they can't leave their day job, but in reality, the insurance is much more affordable when you have somebody who is looking for the best deal and they know what your situation is. Because I can customize anything to make it fit your budget. If some people have unrealistic expectations, you can't come to me and say, hey, I'm 45, I have diabetes, I have 2 kids, I want to spend $300 a month. Like, that's just an unrealistic expectation, and I would tell you so. However, when somebody gives me all that information, I'm like, okay, let me tell you what I can find for you, and what is your budget? What can you afford to spend? What is your max? And then I'm going to tell you everything that you can get for your budget. And then we can pick and choose what's important to you. So I'm going to give you everything that's available. And then you could customize the package to your comfort level of your budget. Because not everybody's budget's the same.
That's right.
My budget at 54 is very different than when I was, 25. I have a 26-year-old who just came off of our insurance, and he was just upset that he had to pay for his own insurance. And he works for a big company now and he's getting great insurance, but he was like, I can't believe I have to pay for insurance. I'm like, well, welcome to the real world. But he called me and said, Mom, will you run some numbers for me? Should I take the insurance that's offered through my company, or can you do better for me? We ran the numbers, and, it was very close. It was very close. So, it's all about getting the information to me so I can get you the information that you need to make an informed decision.
Well, I think one of the biggest benefits to having insurance available for businesses, like most bike shops that I know of, you have the owner and probably one or two employees. Mm-hmm. That's typically what it is. Typically, those 3 individuals, they all make pretty good money. Mm-hmm. A lot more than I had initially mm-hmm. thought.
Yep.
But when you talk about getting an employee, there's a couple of people out there that they could hire me in a heartbeat because they can afford my talent, mm-hmm. but they can't hire me because they can't afford my benefits.
Because you have benefits for yourself, your wife, and your children. And mm-hmm. those are working for, and you said you have United Healthcare and you have an 80/20. And I mean, those are expensive policies. They're expensive, but there are other options.
Yeah.
There are other options that are available to people who don't necessarily, a 25-year-old kid who's just starting, I shouldn't say kid, young man, doesn't need the same kind of, coverage that maybe, a 45-year-old man who has diabetes, or, maybe a 25-year-old kid who has 3 kids needs more coverage than a single 45-year-old man. Do you know what I'm saying? So It's all really based on what's going on with that situation. And one person I can cover very easily. 2 people I can cover very easily. 2 people's a group. I can cover 30 people. It's all about giving me a call and letting us figure out the numbers for you. Because if you don't know what the numbers are, you can't make an informed decision.
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
Sure.
So I see Louis Bailey's on here. He's talking to your husband.
Oh, boy.
So Louis owns Lucky 7 Fort Worth. And from what I understand, and I'm just using hypothetical numbers because I don't know his real numbers. Yep. So Louis has 2 employees there mm-hmm. that work for him. But Louis also got Lucky 7 Houston, Lucky 7 mm-hmm. Chicago, Lucky mm-hmm. 7 Ocala, I think it is.
Yep.
Lucky 7 Milwaukee, Lucky 7 Chicago. If Louis wanted to, could Louis set up so that all of his different stores could get insurance And even if there were only 2 people at every location,
Absolutely.
you're
Because
still looking.
just because he has different locations, I mean, there are many businesses. Think about grocery stores. They have locations in many different cities. Do you know what I'm saying? So just because they're not all in the same building does not make them a group. So, and I mean, he has a little bit of an advantage. He has multiple stores with multiple employees. That's a group plan waiting to happen.
Well, the reason I say I'm curious about that is because he's the one that I know. I don't know what his financials are. I don't know what his employees. I don't know how he runs his business at all. But I know that when I was thinking about this, my son just went to work for the Lucky 7 in Houston. I was trying to get it so that everybody, because there's a bunch of builders, I'm telling you right now, a bunch of builders that I talk to, and they're all in the same boat. Yes, I do this part-time. I have a job because I need benefits.
Yep.
Or yes, I do this full-time, but my wife has a kick-ass job and we get our benefits through her. But everybody's faced with the same problem. Man, we just cannot find employees. We can't get people that want to come in here, make a career of this and set down some roots. And I tend to believe it's just simply because not the pay, it's because the benefits. And I think some people would actually be hypothetical numbers. If you're going to pay me $20 an hour with no benefits, how about you pay me 18 and let's talk about some benefits?
You're right on there. You're spot on with your number. Yeah.
I would think some people would be willing to do that to get the insurance because they want to do this as a career, but they also understand, like me, I've had my oldest son is 29, about to be 30 in 2 months. And then now I've got a 9-year-old. So I progressively had kids for 30 freaking years. And it's not going to stop. I'm going to be raising kids successfully for 40 years.
Yep.
So I've had to have insurance to some degree the whole time. And it just gets expensive sometimes. Yeah. So Brian Kroom said, question covering members groups for lower rate in general. All shops link together. Is that possible?
It is possible.
Is it possible for all of these shops to get together and put a group together to get a better lower rate for the individual shops?
That is possible. There's a lot that goes into that. We already have those kind of policies in place. So that's what we specialize at Lev Insurance. We specialize in multiple genres of people in the same business needing insurance and bringing them together into a group so they can all get insurance. That's possible.
So I didn't see Dan Juban ask that first, but I saw Brian's question, and they're both the same.
Yeah.
So see, Kevin, that's what I was telling you about. Yes. So I know that there are shops that are interested in it because I've already talked to these shops, but I'm not saying anybody's name because I don't want to call any one person out. But that's another good shop right there, Shy South. Those guys are on fire. Things are moving and going, but they're working really hard to make all these things happen.
Yep.
And I know in the past we've discussed it. They've discussed being able to try to some way have benefits for people. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I want this to be more than just, the bike builders. What about the parts manufacturers? What about the people that own the clubs or the destinations or stuff like that?
Yep.
I want to try to get this going for the entire industry.
Yep. Because this industry as a whole is underserved when it comes to group benefits. It's just, I don't know how it's been overlooked, but there are so many of you, and the cat's kind of out of the bag who my husband is. There are so many of you who all work in the same industry and don't have benefits, but joining together, as a force, you guys can get, a group plan. And the more that we have, the better that we'll be able to do. That doesn't mean that, just because there's 500 of you that the insurance is going to be like, 50% less. That's not how it works. Because again, it's based on, age, the group selection, all that kind of stuff. But there are definitely benefits to being in a group. We all know that. It's just, how many employees does your company have? You guys get great rates because, there's a big group of people. But just because you don't have a big group of people doesn't mean we can't get you really good rates. It's possible.
So Carl Pusser said, this
is not like Aflac. No, this is not like Aflac is
a supplement.
This is not Aflac. We're talking about real insurance. This is not, you're just going to get little, is that the little duck company? You're not just going to get little small tidbits of, breadcrumbs thrown at you. We're talking about getting you guys really solid insurance. So we call it the God forbids in my industry. Somebody has a cancer, heart attack, stroke, kid falls down, breaks their ankle and they're, playing football. Something catastrophic happens, you're covered and you're not going to go medically bankrupt. That's what we're looking at. We're not looking to throw crumbs and be like, hey, here's $50 because you were off work for 2 weeks because you sprained your ankle. No, we're looking to get solid coverage for all of you.
Right on. Well, so that's what, and I can just keep saying this over and over and over, because when I started my first business in 97, I had no employees. But over time, I built the business up and ended up getting employees. One of the things we could not do, and this was back in 97 through 2001, I could not afford insurance because back then, insurance for a company, the company was liable for a certain percentage of every single person, insurance-wise. Well, we didn't make that much money. I mean, we made money, but there was no way for 25 employees, 40 employees, as the company grew, there was no way I could absorb $100 of each and every employee's for benefits, because we didn't generate enough money to do that. My typical profit for the year was anywhere between 15 and 20%. And that was running it the way we ran it. Now I know a lot of these bike shops, which I do ask questions, and sometimes I ask questions like, what kind of revenue are you generating a year? And when I hear the numbers some of these shops are claiming to generate, I'm like, Jesus Christ, not only could you afford the insurance, even if you paid just a small portion of it for your employees, hell yeah, you could afford it.
And then there are tax benefits to that. I mean, again, I'm not a financial planner or a tax expert.
No, Brian,
when you set up accounts for your employees, there are tax benefits for you. I can't say what those are or how much those are, but those are all something that you have to deal with your financial person. But you have to know what the numbers are to be able to know if you're going to be able to afford it or not. I'll give you an example. So you have one guy in a shop and he's got, 2 employees and he wants to get them benefits. There's several different ways he can do it. He can do a group plan. He can say, okay, you guys get your own insurance and I'll cover, let's say 50% of it. But he doesn't know, he's got to come to me and say, hey, tell me what their 50% is so I know whether or not I can afford the 50% of their insurance. Or maybe the insurance is so great, he's like, okay, I can afford 60% of their insurance. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they can again customize. It doesn't have to be, they don't have to have a group policy. They can say to each one of their employees, hey, she'll get you your own insurance. Then I will reimburse you up to XYZ for what your insurance is. That's the way a lot of shops are going because it's easier. It's less headache. There's not, if you have turnover, the insurance is portable. You know what I'm saying? You're not just grouping yourself into a box and locking yourself in there. If you want to bring somebody else on, let's say mid-year, and you want to bring somebody new on, we can get them set up on a policy right away. They don't have to wait till open enrollment. So there's so many options that people are not aware of. There's, the ACA, which, for some of the guys who are just starting out and they're not making a lot of money, they'll qualify for some tax credits just because they do. Do you know what I'm saying? If they can get insurance and get some tax credits for themselves, and as they make more money, those tax credits go away, and then they can go on a different kind of insurance. So there's so many options. There's short-term medical, there is, my job as an agent is to get you qualified, to get you the best long-term insurance possible, and make sure that it's affordable for you. That's what my job is. And for everybody, that's a little bit different. That's why I can't say here's a number. I'm just going to throw a number out at you. Because I have people every day who I talk to. They're like, just send me a quote. I'm like, well, I don't just randomly send out quotes, because I need to know what your personal situation is. Adult things require adult conversations. We need to talk about what your situation is, and you need to be on. I have so many people call me and they'll be like, nope, I don't have any pre-existing conditions. We apply for insurance. Well, guess who didn't tell me they were taking high blood pressure medications? Well, now the price that I gave you doesn't qualify anymore. That's why we talk to everybody individually. I ask questions in a variety of different ways to make sure I'm getting the same answer, to make sure that we're going to get a person qualified. Because the last thing we want is to tell somebody that we can get them insurance, and then it bounces back at us and we can't get them insurance because they haven't given us all of the information. So that's why I ask all kinds of really personal questions when I get on the phone with somebody. If somebody's not asking you personal questions, they don't have the full story, and your coverage is not going to be what you think it is.
Yeah. Well, I know that firsthand. I had a Allstate agent back in the day give me insurance on my work trucks, and a hail damage happened. Big hailstorm hit, and my trucks were just beat up. And I was like, well, I'm going to go get them fixed, and we'll take my insurance. Well, I didn't have that insurance coverage. And the agent told me point blank, well, no, you don't have that coverage. You said you didn't want it. I was like, no, I didn't. I said I wanted to be covered if I farted and the truck caught on fire. I want it repaired. Well, I don't have time to go over every single thing, man. That would take me weeks to go over every single piece. And I was like, but that's your job. So
can I address Earl Hopkins here? Yeah. He's like, what happened to no pre-existing conditions? Laugh out loud. Earl, you need to be informed about what pre-existing conditions are and who actually covers them, because the only people that are actually required to cover pre-existing conditions is the Affordable Care Act. So that is a very important point, is pre-existing conditions are not covered on a typical insurance plan unless you have a group plan or you're on an Affordable Care Act plan. Pre-existing conditions are not typically covered. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at this. So this lady is so much more informative than our 97-year-old insurance guy at Yaffe's. I swear, he sold insurance to dinosaurs.
Well, insurance is a very complicated industry that requires brutal honesty. Brutal. You have to be, sometimes I hang up the phone. I'm like, they were lying to me. I could hear them lying through their teeth on the phone, and then I call them back and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to ask you a few more questions, and then the truth comes out, So, I'm going to give you all the information so you have all the answers, because you can't make an informed decision unless you have all the information. Like, you can't build a motorcycle for somebody if they're like, hey, I want the color blue. And I've been through this with my husband. What does blue mean? Blue is a lot of colors.
Yeah.
Blue is a lot of, right? You have to get like, okay, we have to narrow all of the pieces down so we know exactly what we're looking for. Because some people literally just want catastrophic insurance. They're like, I want a $25,000 deductible. I don't care if I'm going to pay cash out of pocket. I just don't want to go bankrupt. Then I have other people who are like, my kid has ear infections 10 times a month. We go to the emergency room. I need all that covered. Those are two very different things. Yeah. They could be we're both working in the same shop, So you got to figure out what people need.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that what I'm actually trying to do is just get the information to the shops, because a lot of startup businesses, they don't even think about it.
Yep.
A lot of businesses don't even think about hiring employees. But I'll tell you, there's a couple of shops out there that I talked to in the last 4 years that they're like, dude, I just do this for fun. Here we are 4 years later. They've quit their day jobs. They do it full time. They can't even pay attention. They're so busy. And now they're begging people to come work for them. And they're like, dude, I can't get employees. I can't get someone to do body work for me. I can't get someone to help me do base coats. I can't get painters that want to work, want to do this. I can't get that. There's just so many shops that are like, we can't get the simplest of laborers. Well, the real reason you're not getting the simplest of laborers is because you don't have benefits. And I know, because if you had benefits, when you went to offer, hey, looking for employees, here's the scope of pay, and we have a retirement package as far as the 401k set up, we have medical insurance set up, you're going to advertise what you can offer a person. But when you offer that stuff, now you're going to get just the next level of builder. You're going to get the next level.
And you're going to get that. You're going to retain them.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing. You're going to retain that good talent.
Well, and that's the part that got, what really got me thinking about this was last week. My son text messaged me, and he just told me, he goes, Dad, I love this. I wish I would have been doing this a long time ago. And I was like, oh. So we started talking, and it was before last Thursday. It was last Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. He's like, dude, I can see me doing this forever. This is the bomb. I was like, okay. At that point in time, I was like, I would like to see you get married one day. I would like to have grandkids one day. I would like what's coming to me.
Yes.
You can't give me those things if you're just working for a paycheck. You got to get benefits. And the job he works at is awesome. There's so much potential to make that a long-term thing, which Josh is making that a long-term thing. Josh has got things in place and doing things for the long haul, not just the next couple of years, which is good. But I want all of these different shops. I mean, I could list them off. I want all of these shops to have these things available. And I hope that some of them, Louis said there's probably only 2 shops out there that even offer benefits. But I want everybody to be able to offer benefits, whether you're a single individual like Brian Barber doing paint, or you're a huge shop like Louis Bailey with multiple locations. I want everybody to be able to get this.
So April is saying, questions. You broker to big companies. I do. I am an independent broker. I work with all companies. So you are not locked into, like, I'm just going to use, like, there are, big name insurance companies out there. They only offer you what they have. I'm an independent agent. I offer you what's best for you and your family. I'm not locked into one big company. Does that answer your question, April? In other words, can you vet before they say no to the audience here tonight? What does that mean, April?
So speaking of Joshua Brooks just stepped in. He said, sorry, we're discussing the benefit side, the medical benefits. We're not getting into the 401ks or the financial benefits yet. That's for another show. But that's what we're discussing right now. So I spent an overnight in the ER, and the bill from my insurance company was $4,890. The hospital billing department stated that if I pay cash, my bill would be $1,755. What a racket. Why can't they just bill the true billing price for services rendered? I agree with that 100%. April said it does, but are you limited?
Limited to what?
I don't know.
I'm licensed in 26 different states with hundreds of different companies. I'm a licensed independent insurance broker. You can look me up online. I'm not limited to one company or one package or one product, if that's what you're asking. The idea for me to shut down. So what we're talking about is how can we help small builders offer employee benefit packages, and what is it that they specifically want to offer? Every builder is going to want to offer different things based on what their, production level or their income level. Not every shop is going to be able to offer the same kind of benefits. Some shops are bigger, some shops are smaller. That's why we say we're going to customize it to each individual shop. You're going to be collectively as a whole, we're going to be able to do some great things that we already have in place. But again, it's going to be customized based on what your needs are. I'm not going to say, hey, Kevin is going to get the same package as Joe over here at Lucky. That's a bad insurance agent. An insurance agent needs to customize for you and what your family needs.
You're damn straight I do, Josh Brooks. First,
Yes.
You want me to pay your kid. Now you want me to get him insurance? What the hell?
Well, Josh, I can get you insurance too. I can get you both insurance.
Oh, I know what he means.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my whole point is behind tonight's show is that I want to let some of the shops know, like Josh Brooks, I just said, like Carl Pusser, Dan Juban, Scott Hoover, Brian Barber. I want to let everybody, Jason Tower, I want everybody to know, don't be afraid of getting health coverage. Don't be afraid of it, because it can be reasonably priced. And nowadays they can be custom built for you, just like the bike.
They should be custom built for you.
So getting these things done, it makes your company more viable. Not that what you do isn't good, not that what you do isn't going to last, but at the end of the day, having employees and being able to tell an employee, yes, we have medical. Yes, we have dental. Yes, we have optical. Yes, we have a 401k in place. Here's another, and not to get off topic too much real quick, but here's something that's scary about a 401k that a lot of people don't know, is that a 401k can be set up by any human being that is willing to put a dime in it. That's all it takes. So when you offer a 401k package to your employees, basically all you're offering them is a phone number to somebody that they can set up how much money they want to put in it. The cool thing is that as an employer, you can match a certain amount, like a 1% match, a 5% match, which just makes your employee like, holy shit. So I'm going to put my money in, but my boss is also going to match it with 5%. So if a guy's putting $100 a paycheck into his 401k and the boss is like, we'll match up to 5%. Well, 5%, I mean, even if you're matching up to $1,000, that's $50. That's still a kick-ass thing to do, and it's cheap. But
it's free money for the employee.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the fact that you put the $50 in there, it is a 100% write-off for your company.
Absolutely.
But what it shows your employees is that you're willing to invest into them.
Yes, you care. Bruno, thank you for putting my information on here. lebinsurancegroup.com/Tiffany-Garath. My phone number also is 920-744. Geez, I don't even know what my phone number is. I say it so many times a day. 920.
How often do you actually call yourself?
Oh my gosh, never.
Exactly.
That's terrible that I don't even know my own phone number. What is my number? Okay,
I'll be more impressed if you know your husband's cell phone number.
920-948-1125.
That is so funny, because I know so many people that don't know their spouse's number because they have it in their contacts and they push go.
If you asked me my kid's phone number, I would have no idea what those are, because but I called Joel obsessively every day for, a long time. My direct line at my desk is 920-744-5765. You can also reach out to me via email, Tiffany Garath or tgarath@lebinsurancegroup.com. If you click on that web link that Bruno put up, it has all my information. You can also send me an email from that site and I will answer you ASAP.
So we've been on an hour. I don't know if you realize that. So
Wow.
let me tell everybody something, because somebody asked me this just this morning. What's in it for me? Nothing.
Nothing.
There's not a dime. I don't make any money off of you using her. I actually am doing this because I really want to see a lot of these shops have a lot longer longevity, and I want to see more people get into bike building as a profession, not just as a hobby. So I'm doing things to make all the shops be able to offer benefits. Whether you guys call her, whether you guys take the time to try to do these for your employees, that's on y'all. I've led the horses to the water. It's up to y'all to drink.
And let me reiterate, I am a no cost service to you. It does not cost you anything to call me. Zero. I also understand. So some of you know, some of you don't. My husband's a bike builder. We're both self-employed. I understand. My husband had a corporate job for 25 years and went into bike building. I am also self-employed. I get it. I know what it's like to be self-employed and need insurance and be completely overwhelmed at the thought of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to figure that? You don't have to do this alone. You shouldn't do this alone. Don't go online looking for insurance, because it will give you a headache. You'll get ripped off. You won't understand what your coverage is. Call somebody that's licensed who wants to help you. I'm attached to the bike builder world, obviously. I want to see you guys succeed and be able to offer these benefits, because that's how you guys are going to build and grow. It's exciting to me that somebody actually finally has said, hey, we deserve this. You guys deserve to have all of these benefits, just like all these big companies can offer. All you guys small companies, you should be able to offer the same thing at reasonable prices, and we can do that for you. It's just, you just got to make the phone call and reach out. You can't just wait around for it to happen. It won't happen. You have to reach out to me.
Yeah. So just to let everybody know, I would like for you guys to call her, because she's privy to the bike industry. So she's a part of the culture, a part of the builders, everything. She was willing to get on here, give all this information. If you're interested in this whatsoever, reach out to her. Her information is in the comments. Uncle Bruno was gracious enough to go research it, find all of her information, put that stuff in the comments. For everybody else, next, I'm going to be working on getting a financial planner on here, so you guys can understand how to get the information to the employees or even the owners to set up your 401ks, your Roth IRAs, your different avenues to save your money. Because that's what it's about. Everybody wants to retire at some point in life and enjoy what they've worked so hard for. I'm retiring at 65. That's 13 years from now. It's actually 12 and a half, but I'm going to retire. Everybody's like, no, you're not. You're never going to stop working. No, what I mean is I'm going to retire from my corporate company. I'm going to retire from American Drag Seats, building bikes, but I'm always going to be tinkering with somebody's bike, doing seats or something like that, because I enjoy it. But I want to be able to actually enjoy my life. And I want you guys to be able to do that also, just because I know there is so much money in this industry. There's so much talent in this industry. And I hate seeing people that are so good have to get out of it because they have to have benefits.
And there's no question that's too small or silly. If whatever your question is, just email me. I'll email you back quick. It is whatever questions you have, whether it's small or a detailed quote, I'm happy to help. I'm here to, I'm building a business as well. So I love it that you guys are trying to all come together and get cohesive and get the things that you all need to keep going in this industry.
Right on.
Oh, I do feed him well. I do feed him well, Carl. I'm a great cook. In addition to being a great insurance agent, I'm a great cook. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. See, I'm going to put this up because Louis talking shit. Louis, as usual, he's talking shit. Don't He said, "What? That's a good thing." Anyway, I just want you guys to understand that no, I just want to make sure this industry has the same resources all other industry has.
Yep.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Certain shops are not going to last forever. They just won't, because they're in it for the wrong reasons. They don't really care about what they're doing. They're in it for the fame of the moment. They're in it for the money for the moment, and it's going to show. But for you guys that really want to build company, really want to put food on tables, really want to put kids through college, you guys that really want to do this, you gotta have more than just a paycheck. So at least I'm just putting the information in front of you. The only thing I would request from everybody, push the share button, share the video. You don't have to write a 30-minute diatribe on what the video was about. All you gotta do is push the share button and it'll share it to everybody on your timeline. Be kind. Let others know this is available. It doesn't have to be just for bike builders. This can be for anybody who wants to do anything. He said, "Come on now, Kevin, don't bring art into this." God damn it. How do you know who I'm talking about all the time, Brian? Shut up. But anyway, Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Please reach out to me. Give me a call. Send me an email. Now I have all of your names on here. I'm going to be checking you all out. You might just hear from me via Facebook as well. I'm happy to help at any time.
Well, I appreciate you. Tell your husband he better do what he said he was going to do, or I'm going to call him out. I'm
coming down to Galveston in November. I'll be there, even if he's not.
Right on.
Boots on the ground. I got to meet all my new clients.
Hell yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you very much, Tiffany. Keep in touch. Let me know how things are going. Hopefully we can get these guys insured and get the benefits going on.
Absolutely. I will talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Everybody. All right, everybody. So like I said, all I can do is put the information out there for you, and hopes that we can make all the shops better, get everything going, and just make them better. But anyway, do me a favor. If you're on here, man, no matter who you are, push the share button, share this video so that others, that didn't watch the show tonight, they might get the opportunity to watch the show, and they may want to take advantage of some of this stuff. But anyway, you guys have a kick-ass night.